All right, welcome. I'm going to do a brief recording for you here on mail merge. So, usually you have some kind of letter and you want to get it out to a bunch of different people and you want to personalize it. Minimally, you might want their name and address in there. And then you might want to put some information in other places, like for example, uh, I have people that gave donations. Oops, crap, wrong letter. I have people that gave donations, so we thank you for your previous donation of $1,000. So we're going to play around with this. Now, if you already have a list of people, it's pretty straightforward. You say you identify that this is a mail merge letter. So I do that from the Mailings tab, Start Mail Merge. Letter is the most common option. Then I have to select the people that I want to merge this letter to. Now, often we'll have an existing list to work with. So if I have one, I just go out and I find it. So here I have some memberships. Now that's a spreadsheet. There's a lot of different formats you can use. And here, it has to be true that the first row contains headers, otherwise you can't access your data. Once I've identified that, I can then use the Insert Merge Field button to see that there's a whole bunch of columns of information I can use. For example, first name, last name, address, city, state, and zip, among other things in this particular database. So this one has a lot in it. So for example, instead of saying Mr. and Mrs. Moneybags here, I would want to make a generic first name, last name, for example. So I'm going to replace that with Insert Field for the first name, and then I need to put a space in there to separate the first name from the last name. Similarly, I can replace the specific street with generic street address. Same with city, state, and zip. And again, we want to insert proper spacing and punctuation. So city, comma, space, state, space, and zip. And then I can test that out to see if it looks okay with different people by going to preview results. So, let's see, apparently my first several pieces of data are messed up. So here we go, there's one. So here I can see I have a Ron and Christy. So I picked a weird data set. Repeat this with a good data set in a moment. Okay, here we go. Now we're starting to get some better now. Okay, interesting. Oops, I did last name then first name. It's backwards. Last name should work a little better. Turning on preview results, I can see samples of that for individuals in my database. So I can test it out to see how it looks. Turn off preview results. So when I'm done putting these codes in wherever I need them, I would then go to Finish and Merge. There's a couple things you can do there. You can hit Print Documents, and I could print for all. So what that would do is say there's 1,000 people in my database. So it would print this letter 1,000 times, grabbing the first name, last name, address, city, state, and zip for each person and sending it to the printer. Ultimately, I could click Edit Individual Documents. What that would do would make a new file in addition to this one right here. It would be called Letters or Letters 1. And each page, since this is a one-page document, would be for a person, a row in my data file. In this case, it's a spreadsheet. We'll do another one in a minute. And so then if there were 1,000 people, I would have a 1,000-page document that I could then personalize even further. So suppose I know that Gary Parker needs a little extra note, so I could add something special to his letter, and then I could send them to the printer after. All right, so let's do this for another one. Okay, so if you don't already have a set of data, then you have to create it. So from the Mailings tab, I start Mail Merge, and it's a letter. And then as far as select recipients, I need to start a new list. Now, it comes with a default set of headings here: title, first name, last name, company name, and so on. If you want to alter these, then you have to go to Customize Columns here. And then you have to decide, do you need a title? Do you need a company name? Do you need 2 address lines? Do you need something else? Now, particularly, I'm going to go down to the end here. I need something else because they made a donation. So I'm going to put a donation field in here. Also, some of these people are members, some are not. And so I might add a field for membership. General rule on typing field names is don't put special characters in there aside from underscores or hyphens, and don't put spaces in between if it's a 2-word. It's not a good idea. I know it says zip code there, but secretly they have zip underscore code in the background on that one. All right. I could decide that I don't want a work phone, or I don't want an address line too, but I could always leave them blank because maybe in the future I might need a second address line, and it's a pain to add an extra field to a database later. I'm going to leave them for now. But again, you could say, no, I don't want the address line too, and just wipe it out. I'm going to go with those. So I just start typing people. Oops, first name, last name are the same one. You can hit tab to get from one to the next. Up like that. Then I'll skip everything else beside donation. So we have a $100 donation, and he is a family member. And then if I hit enter at the last one, or tab, it'll jump me to a new line, so then I could add another one. And then I keep adding them as much as I need to. Hit OK, and it's going to prompt me to save this. Now what I'm saving here is the data, not the letter. So that I'm going to have 2 different files at this point. So I want to put them someplace I recognize. And every time we save a file for the first time or do a save as, we want to pay attention to 3 things. Where is it located? What is it called? So let's see, this will be smart addresses. And what type it is. Now here they're recommending a type called Microsoft Office Address List, which is a Microsoft database file, and that's sufficient. That's good. So I know where it is, I know what it's called, I know what type it is, so I click Save. If I need to, wait a second to load that. Come on, we can do it. Anyway, once you do that, all of these other mail merge options should light up. And if they aren't, did I hit the wrong button? Oh. And then I should be able to re-edit that list. I should be able to insert fields from that list. Come on, what's the matter with you? Well, let's make sure I went in the right spot. So I'll open up my files, documents, CS120 mail merge, and there's addresses. So my version of Word is misbehaving. So I'm going to try to reconnect it by using an existing list, since I already saved it. Find it. There it is. Open. There we go. So now these lit up. So when I hit save, it should have automatically happened. There's some kind of glitch in my Word apparently. So if I need to re-edit any one of those people, I click Edit Recipient List. Under Data Sources, I select my file and hit Edit. And then I'm back where I was and I can continue editing Julia's entry. Or I can add new ones. Let's just add a line for her. And let's do an address. Okay. again, for a donation of $20. She is a member. Okay, so I'll save that. For your project, you're going to need at least 5 people. You can create them, make them up. I do want to save that, and I'm good now. So once I'm in here, then I can start replacing things. For example, I want to replace that generic name I put there with the code for first name, space, last name. Here, I want to replace a specific street address with a code for a street address. Here's my address line 1, and the same thing with city, state, zip. So everywhere I want to see information about the person, I drop it in with a code. Button, I hate hitting that one. So let's see. Oh, that was match. I want to insert merge field. There we go. And I put in my city, comma, space, state, space. Dear friend, here I might want to do it a little different. If I'm using titles for everybody, I might do title, space, last name. If it's a formal letter, if it's a casual letter, which this one's a little more casual, I might just do dear first name. It's up to you how you want to do that. Down here under donation, I want to replace that with their donation. And then I could write a sentence later that says something about their membership status and put that in here also. Now, the nice thing about inserting fields into the letter somewhere is it makes it look more personal and less like a form letter. Therefore, the person's less likely to toss it out when they get it, right? Once you put the codes in, you want to test it out. So that's when I go to preview results, and I can see Bocephus's information is in there. I often like to push the button highlight merge fields because that puts a gray background wherever I have a field. So I can just double check, do they look right? Are there appropriate spaces, punctuation, and so on? Turn that off before you print. I can scroll through the recipients up here. I only have 2 right now. I'll have more later, and I can turn that off. So that's a start on mail merge. I'll do a recording for some other parts of this in the near future. Send me an email if you have any questions. Have a good day. Take care. Ta-ta.